I think we're live. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another stream, which I haven't done for a while. When was the last time I did a live stream? Weeks ago. Anyway. Hey-o! So today we're taking a look at the Creality K1 because it arrived and I was like, I want to have a look. Let's do a live stream. Why the hell not? There have been some things that have not gone on particularly well with this printer already, and it hasn't even made it to reviewers yet. So you might have seen Sam Prentice do his live stream and other videos and Twitter and stuff like that. And his hot end broke. So my plan for today, instead of just diving straight in with the print, is to take a look at like the machine itself, have a closer look at all the things and how the things are doing the things that they do, and maybe potentially identify some weak points, or hopefully find some good things. And of course, we've also seen that they may not be entirely truthful about the source of the firmware that they're using. So there has been some significant evidence that this is in fact running Clipper, which is of course an open source firmware, and Fluid, which is an open source interface for Clipper. So just bear that all in mind as we take a look at this today. Yes, that's it. Hello! I don't remember exactly who you are just based on the name RW, but everyone I met at TCT was really nice. So you're definitely in that group. I just don't know which one of those people you are. So yeah, speaking of TCT, as you mentioned, met some people. That was really good. It's really nice always to catch up with viewers and people in all different sorts of life, engineers and researchers and students and everything. Everyone looking at 3D printing, and it's good to just have a little chat about what people are doing, what they're up to, what they like and what they don't like, and all those kinds of things. There wasn't that much to see this year at TCT. The number of booths that are doing the kind of DIY community thing has rapidly gone down. And TCT show itself is quite small now as well. So it might be the last one I do, but there'll be a video about the things that I did see there, hopefully in the next week or maybe 2 weeks, depending on how much I do and how much it looks like and all those kinds of things. The other thing I want to mention is a new thing on the website. There is a video coming about this hopefully this week. It's like I've got all the notes and stuff that I need to do it, but I've just not made the video yet. So this is a stepper motor analyzer. I did a YouTube short about it, but I know many of you won't like those videos, so you won't have seen it. It's basically, this is the hardware obviously. You plug in a stepper motor, like the input and the output here, so it runs in line with the stepper motor, and there's some software that goes alongside it. It connects via Bluetooth to a computer, and the software has all sorts of like analysis on it, like direction and speeds and currents and graphs, and is really good. I didn't design it myself. I'm in communication with the person that did, and they kind of wanted me to make a product out of it. So we've done some modifications. We've added some holes, made these JST connectors, etc., etc. Just simple things to make it viable as a thing for you to very easily connect to a printer. So that's now on the shop. If you go to vector3d.co.uk and just go for a search for stepper motor analyzer, you'll find it. I've not put it on the front page yet because the video's not out yet, so I didn't want loads of people rushing to get one before I have a video, because then I have loads of questions to answer. So anyway, yes, the video is coming soon. This is now available. Go check it out if you haven't already. It's quite an advanced tool, so just bear in mind, if you're a very beginner to 3D printing and not have any electrical experience, it might be a bit too much. But if it's something that you're interested in, it's a pretty advanced tool and pretty capable. That's the word I was looking for. This plastic case is just for the shipping. This is just a shipping case, just so it doesn't get knocked about too much as I ship it. I try to keep my amount of packaging materials to a minimum, and trying to use as much paper, card and recyclable materials as possible. So I have a very small plastic case that goes around the product itself, just to try and protect it as much as possible. And it's actually surprisingly strong, even though it's really very thin. It's printed out of ABS, which in theory would be recyclable, but because it's not properly marked or anything, it's not, unfortunately. But there you go, that's the world we live in. So, hello everyone. Hello, 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 hello. I gather the sound and everything works okay. I have done some... Oh, thank you, James, for the links. Yeah, they look just right. Yeah, cool, brilliant. So James has linked those there. Rushmere 3D. I can pin that, can I? Pin message. Boom. If you're interested, there it is. You don't have to, just I wanted to make sure that you know, so that when it's there and you know. Sometimes I forget to tell people the live release things and then wonder why nobody wants to buy them. Anyway, yes, the K1. So this is Creality's like fast machine. It supposedly can go 600 millimeters cube per second with, I think they say it's 20K. Yeah, sorry, the main camera is a little bit shit. It's a webcam. I don't have funds yet for better camera. We'll use the this camera probably more. Should I just do it on here? It's really close. New computer, see, so, well, not really new computer, it's like old computer. Editing machine becomes stream PC. So, yeah, anyway. The K1 is their fast printer. They said they were going to send it to me a while ago. It's only just arrived in the last week at some point. Here we are. Oh, I do also have this. So this also arrived this week. It's very much the week of fast printers. So it's for me anyway. Obviously, everyone else has had a bamboo carbon for a little while, but I'm doing a project with them. So it's not so much about reviewing the printer, it's more just about using it in a project and that kind of thing. So yes, today's focus is the K1. So in the top here, this is a big piece of plastic. I think it's probably the lid. I did actually have a first look at one of these at TCT. I didn't see it printing actually, but it was there. So you got a guide for setting some things up in a whole bunch of languages. Always good to have some language support. After sales surface, lucky me. Can go over there. I don't know the best way to take this out of the packaging. Hopefully this is a reasonably good way. Hello to Las Vegas. I went to Vegas once. It was very hot. And I was only like 14 or 15 or something, so you know, lots of Vegas things that you can't really do at that age. Okay, it's quite heavy. You know what's funny? They've used exactly the same tape as they had on the bamboo. It's like literally the same thing. Like, it's quite heavy. It's surprisingly heavy. One absolute unit. Ugh. I don't know, the Bamboo had some instructions on how to unbox it, so I wonder if this printer will too. 54 years, blimey now. Sorry, that was not like a dig at your age. That was just like, it's a long time to live in one place. Unboxing. So, they have a little unboxing guide in case you don't know how to take things out of the box. It seems daft, but you don't want to be breaking stuff. Like when the packaging doesn't just fall out, you want to make sure you remove it in such a way that you don't damage anything. Power cable tucked in the top. I wish they would ship with longer power cables. So it's a UK one at least. Move the thing out the way. Make sure I keep all the packaging materials just in case. Oh, it's just fallen down inside. Howdy, Steve. Who'd have thought instructions were needed to unbox a bloody printer? Right. How do we get in here? So, this is the screen. The message says, before applying power, check the input voltage to avoid damage to the machine. Because, you know, 230 volts, etc. It is a nice mellow box behind me. So, shall we have a quick, no, maybe? So this is just spool holder thing. Come on, sort my life out. So some rubber feet. These actually look quite decent for rubber feet. They're pretty soft. So hopefully that'll help dampen any things, well, some vibration. And we've got a tiny spool. They sent me some extra filament. For some reason they keep sending just white filament, which is absolutely awful. I mean, it's not awful. It's just really not very good for determining what the print looks like, which may or may not be deliberate. We've got a ramming rod. Is this the agricultural way of clearing the nozzle? Fantech! Hello everyone! Hello, 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 hello. Huh, okay, this is just some side cutters. The same as ones come in every Creality printer. This is a spanner, a 10 or 12 mil spanner. I don't know why. A plastic scraper. I'm not sure that's going to help much. A spare hot end that's covered in thermal goop. I mean, not covered, but there is thermal goop on it. Interesting. Let's have a look at that. So this is what the hot end is. So typical kind of ceramic heater around the outside. This looks like the heater wires going to the, oh no, this is heater wires here and then thermistor going down into here. So it looks like that thermistor is actually in the brass part in the base, so a bit closer to the nozzle. But that brown stuff all around the outside looks like thermal paste, the kind of thing that you put between your CPU and your heatsink on a PC. So there's no sock or anything, or maybe that's already installed. So interesting. Okay, that's that. The plan today is to take apart the printer a bit, so we'll have a closer look. And then this. I don't know about you, but this looks like an LGX light. Oh, there you go. So presumably this is just like a spare extruder. I don't know why it needs a spare extruder. I don't know if this is reviewer kit add-ons for something. So I don't know if this is exactly what you're going to get in yours. So you've got a nice lever at the top. I do quite like fixed tension levers like this because it means not only is the tension always the same, but when you take something out and put it back in, it's going to be the same tension. So you can't like adjust it to be something that's too much or too little. It's just always the same. The only downside, of course, is if they've set it to something really low or really high, then you could be a little bit out of luck, but hopefully they haven't. Oh, that bearing's just fallen out somewhere. Guess that goes in there. I suspect we might have quite a few things falling apart in our hands today if I try and disassemble the whole thing. And here we also have a bunch more tools and a couple of screws. And lastly, a USB stick. So that's the whole accessories package. Again, don't know how much of this is going to be final, how much it's in every kit or just in this kit. I mean, this doesn't even fit, so I don't know how that was in there. Truly jammed. Anywho. This feels like an accessories case for a different printer, because it doesn't really fit. Anyway, right. Back up here. I think that's just sticky, that stuff. And I'll peel up here. I've not had it very long at all. It arrived this week. Oh, there's plastic on all the panels, so we'll... Still in drafts. Oh dear. Easy mistake to make. I'm going to say it again. It's surprisingly heavy. I know I said that multiple times. but I'm making the point clear. Ooh. What the hell? Did I do that wrong? What they maybe could have done here, I don't know how deliberate it was, but if you look at the door on the bamboo, or compares the two, here, the door is quite stiff, which means you can't like let it swing shut. You have to kind of push it to, and then it makes sense. But this one, they've probably copied the design in some regard, apart from it's loose. So you can swing it shut, and then it does that. It's an extremely unpleasant sound, apart from anything. The latch and door, I mean, it's nice and secure. It works fine. But a little bit extra stiffness in here would make it feel a little bit more quality, I think. Anyway, not a big problem, really. Install the product. Install this. This even seems to use basically the same connector as the bamboo. All the connectors to use, they both landed on exactly the same one. So what I'm supposed to be doing is pushing it in and pushing it down, but it doesn't go down. It's pretty close, but it works. Let's check the voltage before we do anything else. Over down here, there's a little hole. It says 230, so that's good for me. Okay, the plan was to disassemble, so I think we should do that. How much setup am I not doing? Cover, installation. I kind of want to check that it works first, so we'll turn it on and check it works, and then unscrew all the things. The door is glass, but the sides are plastic. I don't know what plastic. Acrylic or polycarbonate, probably. More likely acrylic, I would guess. Power. They also said there's a firmware update that I should do, but we'll do that a little bit later probably. Oh, I've got those extra feet. Yeah, these are just like extra dampening feet. We don't need those at the moment. Nice light at the top. It's good that it's done from the front. The bamboo one's on the side. So, not that it matters that much, but just so you know. They've also done the same door thing with the bamboo, where this bamboo door you can't open all the way. It doesn't go 180 degrees. It's kind of annoying. This does, unsurprisingly, exactly the same. Hi Lars. Definitely not too late. So we've got the setup here. It's probably going to ask me for Wi-Fi details. Remove 3 screws A, B, and C according to the location of the yellow arrow. Ah, we have some screw removal to do. Okie dokie. The bed is basically screwed down. That's those screws out. I'll keep those safe, just in case I need them. Welcome. Please keep the blue cube in the diagram clear of debris and click OK. Sure. This is going to be really frustrating, having to do this all backwards. The door handle needs an upgrade. What's wrong with the door handle? It's probably better than the bamboo door handle, to be fair. Please set up your network. Okay, I'm going to not show you that. There's not a close-up there is. Let's now you can't see. Okie dokie. E3D was not at TCT. They didn't have a booth, but they had their products at HPI Technology, which is a reseller in the UK. Time zone setting. I believe BST is UTC +1. The touchscreen is quite responsive. Bind the device. I don't really want to do that. Place the printing platform. Yep. The self-check process is expected to take. Oh my gosh. So not only does the text presumably just go off the edge of the screen, the process is expected to take 5 minutes or whatever off the edge of the screen, but the button down here that says start detecting also doesn't fit on the button. Maybe those are fixed in the recent firmware, but I don't seem to be able to update the firmware until I've already done this. So it's going to check a bunch of stuff. There seems to be a film on the bed too. I wasn't touching it. Okay, it's going to do input shaping, so we should keep the door closed for this. I've just seen how huge the stepper motors are. They're absolutely enormous. Well, it's not rushing, is it? For a speedy printer, you'd think it could move a bit faster. Why is it going so slow? Come on. So, the weather's been nice lately. Oh, there we go. Oh, we shouldn't have made fun of it. It's decided to go even slower now. Oh, we should have already teared off the film. Oh, there's some extra foam in here too. Polymate, hey Paul, how you doing? It is too hot, isn't it? Luckily, we've just had rain here. Just as I was starting, it started raining, so everything's cooled down a bit rather quick. Still doing input shaping, apparently. Here we go. This is the input shaping I know. You probably won't be able to see it, but the tool head has just started moving like this, left and right. And it sounds identical to Clipper's input shaping. Not a surprise. See, it goes slow that you can remove stuff. That might be true, but if it was, they would let you know. And in fact, there's a message that says, do not touch the printer during the self-check. Up to 91 people, that's quite cool. Don't forget to leave a like if you want to. The like button is just down there somewhere. Somewhere there, about there, hopefully. Let's get some things out of the way and we can get ready to start opening it up and having a look inside. I got this tray as well for organising things. This is one of the sample prints on the bamboo. It came with some filament, so I was like, well, let's just print some things. Came out really nice, pretty good. Hello, Techie. It's going good, thank you. The weather has cooled down and we have more fast printers to play with. How are people Are these people that have said they've got one, are you also reviewers that I've not heard of? Creality were like, oh yeah, you're part of our reviewer group, so we'll make sure you get one early before they go out to customers and all this. Sounds like customers have had them for like a week and a half before I've even got one. Okay, it's still doing input shaping apparently. It's maybe doing the computing bit where it works out what the input shaping needs to be. We'll find out hopefully a bit more about what the computery bits are on the inside of this in a little bit. I would say yes, this is a direct competitor to the Bamboo Lab. These motor analyzers are exactly what it sounds like they are. It's a little electronics doobly with a bunch of software that you connect in line with a stepper motor, and it can plot all the speeds and position and current, motor coils. It does all the special ring diagrams. I can't remember the special names for them. But there's a video coming out hopefully next week as a kind of bit of a guide on how to use it and how to look at the results. But are we back? I just connected there. Did the stream die? Can you let me know? Are we okay? Reconnection successful. That was weird. I don't know what happened there. Okay, cool. We're back. Does it do diagnostic for simple, good / bad? I don't know. This is exactly what we're doing for it now. So when it's finally finished doing input shaping, which is taking its time over, we'll find out. It did the nozzle heating, hotbed heating, heat break cooling fan, and mainboard cooling fan all very quickly. And now the input shaping is taking a little while. It normally does take a while, so that's not entirely surprising. But I'd say this is a little bit slower than what I've done before. This bit in the middle is where it's like taking the measurements and doing some calculations. At least that's my understanding. And it's going to work out what frequencies are the resonant ones and what's the ones it needs to compensate for. Full clipper being unlocked for the K1. Holy smokies, that's cool. Hopefully Creality will actually share what they've done with Clipper as well. Aha, input shaping is done. We're now on to auto leveling checking. Oh, do you mean unlocked as in somebody has worked out how to just flash standard Clipper and get everything working? Or do you mean they have the password? I think it's doing auto leveling, apart from there's a piece of plastic on the nozzle, and I don't think it knows it's there. Because the nozzle hasn't got close to the actual bed once. But I also don't know what it is that's doing the bed sensing, so. There's zero security on the file renames. People have even dumped the shadow file by issuing a rename to make it into a file in the web interface accessible here at Blimey. It seems to be extruding now. It's purging a line across the back. I've not asked it to do any printing. Oh, it's taking off. Oh my goodness. That is loud AF. "69 decibels. So I think what I did there was a nozzle cleaning procedure. So instead of using a brush, I think they kind of purge the nozzle, wipe it, and then do this very extremely like fast cooling process of just pulling the final strings out the nozzle, because the nozzle is pretty clean in fairness now. I'd kind of rather it be done at the front of the printer so you can take it off afterwards. When it's at the back, you have to then reach all the way to the back of the printer. Or I suppose it's a removable plate, isn't it? It's not a big problem. Yeah, I know the Anker make M5. This is taking a lot longer than I expected to do, too, considering we're trying to just tear it apart. They were going to be sending me an Anker make M5 potentially. We'll see. Oh, it looks like a chamber thermistor. I don't. Oh, it's quite warm. Oh. Yeah, I don't think you can. You're going to see it on this. This is quite the in-depth process. I kind of wish that some of these things were not part of the self-inspection, because self-inspection and calibration are kind of two different things really for me. I wish it kind of do the self-inspection, give you a report that says, yes, everything is working correctly, and then go, would you like to do calibration? And then you run through the calibration process. It does seem to be using a nozzle-based auto-leveling. So like strain gauge in the nozzle somewhere. Oh, since it's in the bed, you're saying? It's definitely... definitely a contact sensor. It's not clear if it's on the hot end or in the bed. The setup is slow, but I mean, I think it feels slow now because I'm kind of waiting for it. You wouldn't, if this was happening even like before a print, you wouldn't sit here and watch it, would you? The K1 doesn't have the fancy features that the K1 Max has, but as far as I'm aware, the modules for the Max are also compatible with this one. They just don't come with it. I did ask them to send me a Max, but by all accounts, it's not ready yet. So we have a standard K1 at the moment. Self-test completed. Okay, now let's turn it off and pull it apart. I want to take a closer look at the dooblies on the inside. Hopefully it was cool. Right. As I mentioned, there is no process for this. I am making it up entirely as I go. So bear with me. I don't know what is a good idea to remove and what is a not good idea to remove. I'm assuming these screws around here are just going to be non-critical parts for the enclosure. I'm just taking the enclosure off gives you a much better idea of the machine on the inside. Wow, nice. It's just like a smudgy, greasy mess. So this is obviously like, I mean, maybe this is, I still kind of, I don't know, part of the assembly process. Obviously they're doing greasy things and putting the panel on. They obviously clean the outside. I know the outside obviously has the film on it, doesn't it? You can't see it when it's in there, but I might clean that before I put it back. These feet are so sticky. I suppose we can take the door off, can't we? Oh, I'm gonna get greasy schmoo on my hands if I'm not careful. I don't like that. I've taken the screws out and the door is still connected. Okay. So there seems to be tape on these as well. Ooh, there we go. Okay. So it's not tape as such, it's a soft material. I think it just sort of got a little bit stuck. And that's the door off. So I'm losing track of the chat and it's kind of small. Pop out chat, let's see if I can zoom it in a bit. Oh, this zooms in the Cool, it's really raining a lot now. Other people in the UK, hopefully you'll be getting some rain soon as well, because it's rather pleasant. Good thing is all these screws have been the same around the doors. In the middle, those ones are all for the fan, so, and there's another wire up here. So there's a clip, a cable clip in the back here to remove, because you got the blower fan on this assembly. And then there's this little wire up in here. Here we go. So there's this little cable clip here. This holds this, it's a, oh, it says cam. So it's like a 4-pin, 5-pin actually. But it looks just like a USB cable for installation of the camera module. And then you've got this whacking great blower fan. And that's the connector that goes to here. So when you take the panel off, you need to make sure you unplug that. So as far as I'm aware, the camera is one of the parts that will be released separately. Oh, Moji's just said $29.99 for the camera. We are building, well, we're unbuilding, because it comes assembled. It's all pre-assembled, which is useful for many people, but I like building things. So I'm going to pull it apart so we can take a look at all the different electronics and stuff that are on the inside, because that's the stuff that I find most interesting. Right. Basement time. So that looks like earth cable there. It looks like we're going to have to unscrew the feet, which is going to be a little bit annoying, I think. Yeah. I like these trays. Good. I'm just having a look on their website for the camera module. Because I can't see it. I spoke to a technology outlet at TCT, and it was them that let me know that the modules are going to be available separately, and they are compatible. They might even be able to send me some. But okay, I can't find a link. Oh no, there's this random dodgy website that has it. They have it for like £22. So somewhere between like £20 to £25 looks like will be the mark, somewhere around $30. Not too bad, as long as it's reasonable quality. Because the build space is all quite restrictive, It probably wouldn't be that easy to put a standard webcam in, although functionally it should probably work if it's all just USB camera. So as you open, be careful, there's a fan here, so you do need to remove the fan connector from the main board. Yeah, that's that one there. Would you look at that? Oh. That is the nicest Creality mainboard I have ever seen in my life. It's even immersion nickel gold plated. And a matte black piece. It looks really nice. Shall I try and flip it over and get the right way up at least? Some plastic schmoo has just fallen out. So let's have a few guesses at what we can see. I don't want to point at it with a metal thing, so let me find a non-metal thing. There we go, here's a non-metal thing. So it looks like here this heatsink is going to be over the stepper drivers. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 stepper drivers here. So we've got 3 for Z. Oh, this says X. Is that XX? That says X, Y, Z. What? There's so many extra things on this board. So many connectors that are just not installed. Connector. That looks like for... This is an Ethernet socket. That's what that is. So maybe that was something they were going to add and then took off. I'd much rather have it. This is a ribbon cable, which looks like it goes down here for the display on the front. This looks like your 2 USB devices, which will be wired presumably one to the webcam and one for something else. These are both 4 wires, which is, I mean, this colouring, black, green, white, red, is typically used for USB 2 devices. Can you see, or am I sticking my head in the way? So it looks like this outline here, this gold outline, will be the onboard single board computer, aka Raspberry Pi type device. So this is an Ingenic X2000E, and this here looks like flash. This is SanDisk. I can't read the model number, but it's a SanDisk chip. So this is obviously the memory for this. Here we have the ARM processor, which is the main MCU for the control board. That is a GD32F303. This is an AP6212. I don't know if that's a Wi-Fi module or not. I'm not sure. It looks like there's space for another, for the extruder motor here. There's another 2 Wi-Fi. Where are these things all going? We're going to have to try and find out what all these things do. Oh, some of them are going to be end stops, but that's normally 2, 3 pin. Don't know. This is labelled. That's a filament sensor. Aha! Yes, this is the Wi-Fi antenna. So this is probably the Wi-Fi chip, and then this is the antenna connected here, so that goes out. It's probably stuck on the frame or on the door. No, not on the door. On the frame, maybe on the back, because it's plastic. I'm not sure. Got a fuse here. Fused inlet is nice to have. It's a 5 amp. But it's only 350 watts. Obviously this is a Creality power supply. 24 volts, 350 watts. What else we got down here? This is going to be your MOSFETs for switching the bed. So this is going to be your power in, this is your bed power. So this is going to be probably the MOSFET. The switch is that. You've got 2 heaters here by the looks of it. Oh no, that's a fan. And then you've got, this is an absolutely huge connector for a fan. Okay. Oh, it might be the big massive fan. That would sort of make sense. Then there's like 2 thermistors. Yeah, thermistor bed. And it's just labeled 260 degrees. Then you got fan 2 and LED. XYZ. So there's, I thought the bed would have tramming, automatic sensing. You know, like a... Excellent, thank you. Sorry, I'm missing all of this chat. I don't know how much has gone past. I'm looking at things. I've forgotten what I was saying. Yeah, this stepper motor arrangement is really odd. Because if that's Z, are they? There's only one connector for Z. Are these 2 Zs as well? 232-J11. RS232. That rings a bell. Isn't that like UART or something? Standard protocol for serial communication. It's got a connector for a laser. X, Y, and Z min stops. It's probably using sensorless homing, which is why there's no end stops connected. Maybe that was a late decision, which is why all the kind of circuitry is there, but just not populated. This Ethernet, this is what I want. RS485. I want to know what all these things are. So in the middle here, we've got the belt tensioning system. This is the synchronizer for the Z motor. So is there only one Z motor? There's one Z motor, and that connects to this, which does all 3. So that explains why there's not loads of drivers. So the bed will not physically leveled. You only get a mesh leveling, which is not great, to be honest. Although it depends how well it's set up at the factory. If they can get it really consistent, then I suppose it's kind of all right. Well, I don't know how I feel about it particularly. But this looks like a pretty robust tension mechanism-ish. It looks a bit weird, but it looks like it'll do the job. You got your connector at the back here. Earth. You've got multiple earth points, one going to the power supply, one going straight to the frame. There's another earth connecting the USB port stuff over here. You have only one side being switched, so it doesn't switch the live and the neutral. Other than that, not too bad, not too bad, not too bad. I think quite an interesting control board. All designed completely from scratch. Well, I say completely from scratch. It's a Creality board. It's not like an MKS weird thing that they janked in. I wonder how much we can see of this bed. What's going on with that? So you've got this module in the middle, and then these kind of flexible mounts, looks like, on the four corners. My guess, a brief inspection. I don't think this is going to be very easy to disassemble, so I do want to be careful. Because if I take this off, it looks like I'm going to have to take the entire bed off. But this is, looks like the strain. So on here, you have your 4 strain gauges. I think 4. Yeah, it looks like they all have one connected. Sorry, I think I'm bumping the microphone. And then this is the module where they will collect, probably doing some computational things. Let's have a look. I'm going to not, but I kind of need to. Yeah, so it looks like 4 like HX711 chips on there, 1 for each of the strain gauges, and then some sort of this is not very easy. We're going to have to remove all the things. It looks like most of my viewers, or lots of the viewers, just wanted to see the printer working. As soon as I got to the control board bit, the viewership dropped. Never mind. I'm not doing it for everyone else. I'm doing it because I want to see. This is kind of annoying. They've got screws from both sides on these bed mounts. So as you try to loosen them, you have to put your finger over the top to try and hold the top screw to allow you to undo the bottom one. So this should now come off. So there's a zip tie here. I'm going to chop that, and I'll have to put one back later. Oh, there's 2 zip ties here. I'm going to chop them both, put them both back later. Oh, it's still attached. This is kind of annoying. Something tells me they hadn't planned for me taking this entirely apart. unsurprisingly. They've changed from using hot glue to using a different type of gloopy schmoo, which is quite difficult to remove from these connectors. Okie dokie. So this should slide out here. So you've got a kind of very small insulation in the center. Looks like it's labeled as, well, K1 bed. Version 14. Took a lot of versions to get to here. It looks like they've got some adjusted heating for the outside versus the center. You've got thermistor over here that's just attached to the base. AB for the wire for the heating. And it's just like a 3mm base with a magnet on the top. So pretty standard, basic PCB type Creality bed. And then this is the connector for the strain gauge device thing, which I'm going to take a quick picture of, because when I disassemble it, I want to know how to put it back together. My phone is basically broken. Oh dear. The camera's stopped working. Come on, give me a break. Can I use the other camera app? No. Okay, well, no help for me. It is very difficult to get to. They've kind of heat shielded it from the my phone is like 4 years old now and could do with an update. It kind of struggles with some of the things I try to do. So you can see here, this is the module in the middle, but it's under this aluminium plate, so it goes all the way around here. And then these are your 4 strain gauges. So it senses any amount of force on here will deform this piece of metal. And then this little sensor here will measure when this, I don't know if this is going to this 2 string, well, I don't know exactly how it's set up under there. But basically, when this presses, this senses, and that goes back to here. But this schmoo that they've used is pretty stubborn. End up pulling the whole connector off the board, or damaging the board, which I don't want to do. They've definitely found some new high power schmoo to stick on stuff. It's like, ugh. It's way worse than hot glue. I shouldn't have complained about hot glue, should I? I was like, stop using hot glue, and they did. And they've used this stuff instead. I really want to see and show you this a little bit closer, but it's proving very difficult. Unfortunately, by removing these connectors from the PCB, it's actually completely destroyed the electrical terminals. So I'm not very impressed with that. Electrically, they should be fine. They just really won't lock at all together. Nasty. So, you probably won't have seen this before. This is the Creality bed sensing PCB. So I was right in my guess. So these are where the 4 sensors connect, the 4 load cells strain gauges basically. And these are for HX711 chips. So these are the analog digital conversion for taking the strain gauge analog and converting it to digital for processing. And then you've got this 2 things. I don't know exactly what they do, but my guess is some sort of thing to turn it into whatever communication is being used here. So some sort of basic processing to make it into a USB device or something. I don't know exactly, that's just a guess. But it's probably something similar to that. So that's how they do their bed sensing. I don't know exactly software-wise how that's working and how it compensates for knowing which strain gauge should be getting the most force or exactly what that's doing. Maybe it's just an average, maybe it's just using it as like a threshold or something. I really don't know. But you can see how much the connectors have broken just by me trying to remove that shmooey gluey stuff. Yeah, I mean, it kind of comes off quite easily, but when you're so close to small electronics and you don't have very much leverage, it's done quite a bit of damage. Oh well, it'll still work. Well, hopefully it'll still work. So that's how that goes on there. I don't know where this one washer came from. There were 4 M3 screws on these. Don't know. Oh. Well, you might not be waiting a year for revisions and fixes because they are working on them already. But I do get your point. It's a bit of a difficult decision of what you go for. Obviously, I can't really tell you how good it is as a machine yet. I'm just going to be trying to do my best to show you all the things, and hopefully that will help you make a decision. It's actually quite a simple machine once you get to this. Hopefully we'll find a way to take this bad boy apart in a minute. And then we'll move on to trying a print. So let's get this stood back up. Oof. The weird thing about using load cells in the bed, strain gauges in the bed, is that they're very sensitive to temperature. But maybe when it's being used just as a gauge rather than as a precise measuring implement, it's not so bad. I don't know how they freaking assembled this, because this is right under the bed. Right, now we should be able to line this back up with those screws. You underestimate my reassembly skills, sir. 3D printers are quite simple machines-ish. It would have been nice if they had a drag chain for this cable. Sort of a little bit just dangling in the breeze over here, but could be worse. At least it had a zip tie on it. That's some sort of management so it doesn't get caught on the bed. That would be even worse. First one is more drag chain. Can't remember exactly how this was attached, to be honest, but I think it was something like that. So that's not touching the bed, and that is not touching that. Right. So the difficult bit, oh, that's much easier to slide. Oh yeah, because the feet aren't on. Hot end. How do we disassemble the hot end? Oh my goodness. There's just screws everywhere. So we're going for these side screws because these look like they hold that grey shroud on. which should get us a better visibility of things. Steel screws, which is nice, means they stick to magnets. Quite often they'll use stainless steel, which don't. Oh, yes, okay. Well, I usually use my camera on my phone, but as you saw from a few minutes ago, my phone is broken. So I need to buy a new one. It's been playing up quite a lot recently, and it's just getting frustrating when you want to use it and it just doesn't do the things that it used to do. So here we have a 4-pin fan. So brushless DC fan by HXRR, 24 volt, 0.3 amp. It's a 40-20 fan, so that's your part cooling fan on the front. You can see the duct here. So that's your 40-20 in there, and then this stuff around here is your duct. So the outside grey shell forms one half, and then this insert on the inside is the other half, and you get these 3 outlets at the base. It's definitely not particularly fancy, but it does look reasonably functional. Let me take an even closer look. Remove all the screws. I don't know why I can't take this out. It's maybe, I think it's, there we go. So that's one side of the shroud and that's the other side. So you can see there's no like fins or ducting. There's no ducting. There's no fins or like airflow directional stuff. So it's pretty simple. But again, if it works, it works. That just presses in there. How did we put this in? It goes in there, that goes in there, that goes in there. Easy peasy. Probably don't want to take this out too many times because you've got these self-tapping screws rather than any metallic threads. So probably be fine as long as you don't cross-thread them, but just be careful of that. Keep getting a piece of tape stuck on my foot. So this up here, so when we didn't see any E motor on the board below, that's because up here we have what appears to be a CAN toolhead board. So CAN bus is a data transfer protocol, I believe is the correct word. We have a high line and a low line, and it basically transmits data over those 2 lines, and it's good for signaling integrity. It's used in things like aeroplanes and cars, although I think aerospace is starting to use a slightly newer, different standard. Anyway, it's definitely used in cars and stuff a lot. It's a very simple and effective way to transmit data, reducing the number of cables. People are starting to use it on 3D printers to reduce the number of cables that you need to go to the tool head. I'm just putting it on the side so it can't get very closer. Is it CAN or USB? That is actually a good question. It could well be USB. You're right, it is those USB colors again. The reason I think it's CAN is because I have absolutely no reason. I was thinking because the red and black are thicker than the green and white, but that's not necessarily any reasonable justification. And maybe it's these that go there. I think it's this one. I think it is actually RS232, which is serial, which is then USB. So it's not even CAN. Oh, my washing machine's having a bad time. Hopefully you can't hear it. So it's USB, I think, rather than CAN, but there you go. We'll get to first print as soon as I can. I just want to try and get a good look at everything first. So you've got this silicone sock on the tool head. Again, lots of schmoo. The bearings look like those impregnated brass materials, bronze, rather than the old kind of LM8UU bearings. So it's more of a bushing than a bearing. Bit of a weird connector, but that's the connector to that board there. Should now be able to disassemble this too. Oh, shoot, sorry. So the Toolhead board is kind of a sandwiched affair. You've got a kind of a double PCB with these connections between them. So these connections go straight through, soldered both sides, and those are some screws that are pulling out. There's a hot end fan on the back, and that's cooling that. That's the dodgiest, cheapest heatsink I've seen in a while. It's a bit dirty, which tells you it's probably been tested quite a lot. There's lots of schmoo build up on here as well, so again, been tested. You've got options here for filament sensor, touch sensor, heater, thermistor. It's quite a lot on this little board. Let's try. Let's see if I can read the chip. It's not an STM32. There's one trinamic driver, which you would expect. It's all kind of upside down, unfortunately. That's a 2209. And the MCU, or 32-bit ARM chip, is a GD32F3D3, I think. It's kind of difficult to read. So this is the version 1.2 of that board. Does it help having this? Not really. I do have a microscope, actually. A cheap, nasty one. So that's pretty much all there is to that assembly. I think here we could just now one thing I'm not sure about, there was 3 screws in that fan. 2 of them are, they're all steel. 2 of them are plain and 1 of them's black. And I don't know why. Goodness me, this is tight. Holy bananas. What the... Oh. Jesus. Gonna have to stand up for this one. Oh, they've cranked that in tight. What the flip? Oh, wow. Oh, that looks like the red thread lock. It looks like there is some red. Looks like thread lock on there to me. And the tip looks kind of reddy brown, so I'm guessing that's what it is. Oh, I was hoping that would release the hot end. Release the Kraken, but it didn't. I think some additional screws on the side. Countersink screw here. I think another countersink screw over here. Oh. And we're pretty loose. It doesn't come out, and I don't know why. Am I pulling in the wrong direction? I wonder if there's anything in the manual about doing this. There's a maintenance procedure or something. No, it's just unboxing in 100 different languages. This is extremely puzzling. It wobbles like nobody's business. To the point that I can't believe there's anything else holding it in. But I can't for the life of me get it out. Are the bed standoffs made from plastic? No, they're steel. Well, metallic. Probably steel. Right, I'm going to have a short break while I think about how this is going to work. There are screws on the side, but I'm pretty sure they're just holding the bearings in because they overlap the edge of the bushing bearing. So it might be. I need a quick break. I'll be back in like 2 minutes. It'll be quick. And then we'll carry on. How do I do? I think I have like an intermission. Here we go. So I'll play some music. Hopefully it won't be really loud. As a brief warning for headphone users, in case the music is very loud. I'll just be literally 2 minutes. Right. You have to loosen the screws on the underside of the heat brake to pull off the whole hot end. I'm not trying to pull off the hot end. I'm trying to pull off the cold end as well. I don't want just this bit. Don't even know how this stop comes off. So you have to loosen. I don't know what you mean by underside. Can't even get this damn sock off to be able to loosen the screws. Tolerances on the sock are a little bit tight. I don't see how this is going to make a difference. Yeah, so what the actual F? Those screws hold it in. How bizarre. Okay. So that is then your heat break. It's not a particularly sophisticated affair. I think we'll probably be seeing some aftermarket versions of that. Just because it's quite a simple little thing that looks like it could do with some improvement. Yeah, sorry. I've not done live streaming in a while, and I think it shows, doesn't it? Although that suggests I was good at it before. So you have this kind of situation here, where the screws that hold the hot... So obviously this is the hot end. Normally these screws would just hold it into this, but on this printer, this screw goes all the way up through here and right out the top. It uses PTFE tubes as spacers, right out the top, and that holds it then into this carriage assembly. And then you've got a grub screw here, which you'd have to remove to swap out your hot end. So the hot end looks like standard Mach 8 nozzles. So you've got two flats here to be able to hold that with a thing where you undo this. Yeah, shall we try and do the motor as well? I don't think there's much to see. We don't need to do the extruder. I'm not going to do the extruder because we've already got the spare one that we just looked at the start in that box. But thank you for helping me sort that out. Now we know how that works. Is there anything else that anyone thinks we should be looking at before I put it back together? I think it's probably time to try and do a first print. The motors, you can probably see, they're absolutely chungus. They're like 50 something millimeters. .58. Pretty huge for a stepper motor, NEMA 17. Yes, thank you, Manfred. I didn't believe you, but it turns out you were right. The only reason I didn't believe you is because I think that would be, is because it seems like a stupid way to do it, doesn't it? Why does it go all the way through? Well, because it's aluminium, I guess, but it's a very cost-effective hot end design, let's say that much. And I look forward to an opportunity to upgrade it. Okay. This was curious though. This was definitely some Loctite material, thread lock material on the screws. Oh, didn't I use that? Obviously not. Can the rods and bearings be replaced? So it looks like the bushings, yeah, it looks like it. I don't see any glue on the ends. It looks like the steel rods, which are 10mm, I think. They're just pressed into this carriage at the end. The carriage looks like a glass-filled nylon or glass-filled ABS. So pretty stiff, injection molded material. Looks pretty nice. I'm guessing they're bearings. Not bearings, bushings. They sound like bushings on both axes. These ones are definitely bushings. You can see because there's just a brass collet at the edge. Brass collet, brass face at the edge. Hope you get a nice looking hot end in here though, because I think the rest of the machine, hardware wise, is, dare I say it, actually looks quite good. Scary, right? But this hot end is looking particularly naff. Well, that's concerning. The ceramic heater does not seem to be attached to the rest of it anymore. The power cables are routed next to the Z-axis belts. There are no... Oh, the Z-axis belts underneath. Oh, they're really constrained. Hang on, I'll have a look at that. How does this go together? I'm joking. Oh, excuse me. We're at 74 likes. Is there any chance we could make it to 100? How many is that to go? 26? Anyone remember which I found this fan was? Like that. Like that. Ooh. There. That smoothie connector goes back in there. And then here, that goes over the top. That presses down over there. And smooth. Oh, I made a boo-boo. You can probably see that connector should be on the inside there, and it's come out the side. Should be easy to fix. Just need to loosen this. Now what doesn't work? I mean, it was a bit of a pain to get off, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's... Oh, there we go, with that. Right. I mean, you could actually use the printer like, well, I've not put the base back on yet, but you could probably use it open if you wanted to just print PLA. You're going to miss out on some of the cooling from the big fan, but you have an open printer. So let's check out this basement thing that was mentioned. The wires being close to this. I mean, yes, you're not wrong. The wiring is pretty close to the belts, just in general. I mean, they've made them so short and constrained them right here, so I don't think it's actually going to be a problem, but it probably was on like early revisions. If the belts were really long, it could be a problem, but I don't think it will be. Oh, this is one of the USB ports, by the way, because there's just a USB port in the front. So one of those cables just goes to here. So you could try plugging in a webcam or something to that to test if it works. Oh, I've done it again. Sorry. Yes, so I was pointing out this. There's plenty of cable room here. it's kind of close, but the belts are not going to move anywhere and the cables are not going to move anywhere, so I don't think it's a problem. It's quite close up here as well, but it has been managed to be away. This is what the entire basement looks like. And it's a surprisingly small printer. It's not a big build volume. And I do quite like smaller size machines. I've just noticed the LED in the top. It's rather disappointing. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 LEDs from one corner. I think that could be better. But anyway, let's get the basement back on. The basement bacon. That goes there, so that goes back up here. Fan connector goes in here. Nice that it's a 3-pin fan connector, even for the this basement cooling fan. Should I be testing it before I put it back together? Probably. Am I going to do that? No. Hi, Nitram. Did you miss anything? Yes, I disassembled the whole printer. No, we took a look at the electronics and stuff. No, I've done this too much. The Z-axis will be in sync because they're forced into sync. I think what you mean really is it doesn't make the bed level. We don't know. So for getting this back on, you want to take this wire, put that through the connector, do that hole, stick that in there, and then wire in this fan to this thing at the back, which is easier said than done. Yes, there's a, if you rewind to where I was unboxing the accessories, I got a really good close-up, and you're right, it's basically an LGX light. There's definitely no shortage of screws. They've even like CNC'd out this acrylic panel, or whatever material it is, so that the screws sit flush, which is quite a nice sort of finishing touch. I don't think I did that before. How's that happened? The door. So this is going to be quite difficult, I think. This is going to be very difficult. Apparently a link is getting a 404 page not found. Which link, James? The pinned link works fine for me. If the cage isn't cached for everyone locally, it can sometimes not be perfect. Oh, the K1 affiliate link. Oh. That's annoying. I can't really fix that now. That's the door. There we go. No spare screws. Whoop. So, the question now is, does it still work? I'm trying to get the lid, which is this whole thing. Oh, we need the spool holder as well. I'm not sure we're going to use the feet at the moment. I'd probably recommend them if you're going to set up your printer, but for now, it's just a temporary location for me. So when printing low temperature filaments such as PLA and flexible filaments, remove the clear top cover if the room temperature exceeds 30 degrees. The room temperature exceeds 30 degrees. When printing high melting point filaments such as non-PLA and non-flexible filaments, be sure to keep the forming chamber temperature with the clear top cover closed to avoid cracking of the mold. Ooh. Nailed it. Oh. Push on the bottom of the printer from the inside. Well, there was only a problem for Cheaty because of the way they mounted everything. This is solid, but it's irrelevant because nothing is connected to it. Right. Let me go get one of the Creality filaments. I'll be back in 30 seconds. Not even that, 5. So this is one of the filaments that they sent me. Part of their Hyper Series PLA. Print speed 30 to 600 millimeters per second. Not a fan of the colour, but it's a cardboard spool. Don't know if that worked. That seems reasonable. I don't like that the filament goes at the back. Why put it at the back? Nobody has access to the back of their printers. This looks a little bit bent. So it's going to be all manual loading, I think. I don't think there's a motor or anything in here. It's just a... Oh, that's tight. It's going to be overcoming a lot of friction to extrude that. Resealable bag. But he wasn't. This is a heat seal strip, not a resealable one. See? The accusations! How dare ye! I suppose we should turn it on. That'll probably help. Boo bidoo bidoo. Bidoo boo. On. Machine starting. So there's a USB in this box. It might have a thing on it, but they've also sent me separately something that they called like a speed G code or something, so that might be their extra fast benchy or something. That box is too small. All the stuff that's in it. Right, this is a very empty feeling micro SD card. Okay. Okay, this was what the USB port's for, I guess. Oh, come on. There we go. USB driver. What does that say? That said instead, didn't it? USB drive pops up! There's some interesting language choices. Inserted, that's fine. I wouldn't say it's a USB driver though. This is very similar to what the Bamboo looks like on the interface. Again, the box is not quite big enough for the text. Maybe it's a language thing, and maybe in one language it's fine, but in English it's not. I don't know. Handling process takes a little while. 600S test, first layer testing, cat, and 17-minute benchy. USB drive, empty. So that's a local one. So does it have a ludicrous mode? I don't know how if it has modes at all. Screen off, 3 minutes, language, device self-test, time zone. Bind the Creality. Version rather. Oh, yeah, the words don't fit the boxes. Oh, that's got some serious speed though. Blimey, Charlie. That's just like an exhaust fan. Could do with the filter, to be honest, because that's just purging ABS fumes into midair. Lights on and off. One side fan. What are we doing? Getting a benchy. So I won't be able to show you this. Obviously, I'll show you when the print starts. I'm just going to hopefully be able to get a benchy G code from this. S600 CX Pro. Oh, that's Creality Slicer Profile. Section solid 3D benchy mode. Creality print. Okay, I don't know what half this stuff is, but we're going to take the G-code files. Yeah, the menu system and screen all seems pretty good. Kind of it's weird, isn't it? It's like all this time they've been just associated with building kind of shitty because that's what the market wanted. And it just kind of goes to show that if the customers want something more fancy, they build something more fancy. Like, they clearly had the ability to make this touchscreen the whole time. And yet they put on the cheapest, shittiest one because that's what everyone expected or would be paying for. This is taking a very long time to do a thing. Oh, I shouldn't have done it. 74%, it's just going to transfer and do an extraction of some files, and then we'll start. It should be a 17-minute benchy, so I can't wait to see that. Right, we should have some files. Benchy 17 minutes. Benchy 17 minutes. It's probably the same one. Oh, I thought there was going to be a 3D view for a second. That would be extra cool. Bonus points for that. Copying documents. So it copies it over to the printer by the looks of it. So you could probably take this out now. Yeah, so you only have to have it in for the transfer by the looks of it, and then it work without. I think the calibrate is only really going to be like mesh bed leveling. Hopefully it doesn't take 20 minutes to do the setup for a 17-minute print. I just realised I haven't put the print surface on. I think it can feel me because of the load cells. If I touch the bed, it knows that I touched it. That's quite clever, actually. Which makes me think there must be a load cell in the hot end as well somewhere. But I didn't see one. Because otherwise, how's it going to know the difference between me touching the bed and the nozzle touching the bed? I forgot to do that firmware update they asked me to do. Hopefully it doesn't jam the nozzle into the bed. Here we go! I don't know if the nozzle is even... Is the filament even loaded? I don't think the filament's loaded. Yeah, so I'm not allowed to stop, right? I'm going to force you to stop then, because you do what I say, not what you choose to do. Thank you. Right. Let's load this filament properly, because I don't think that was loaded properly. This filament feed tube is a little bit on the restrictive side. Extrude, retract, nozzle temperature, 210, extrude. It's not a home all, there's only a home XY and then a home Z separately. Well, in fairness, it's a very typical filament sensor. It will help when the filament runs out, and that's all. Hey, there we go, now we're moving. I don't know how to make it stop. Stream done. Cool. Take that lobby out. Okay, so filament is now probably loaded at least. So we now got two benches that are both the same. I want to do the mesh bed leveling. So we have to go through the calibration process, but I've turned off doing the input shaping, which took forever. so it should just do an auto leveling. Did we make it to 100 likes? I think we did. Yes. Bloody fantastic. Yeah, this lid is... Oh no, I think it's okay. Can you pause the print and swap filaments from the front panel? I mean, in terms of firmware, the Bamboo, when I turned it on, I connected it to the network, it checked for the latest version, and it installed it. And this has not done that. I think that buzzy, noisy thing that it does, the weird vibrating movement thing, is part of like checking the accelerators or strain gauges or something. Yeah, that. I think it's validating some functionality. Still not rushing, is it? Goodness. It'd be nice if it could also check in for updates. That loud band doesn't sound good. I think there was a loud noise when it came back to this rear corner. I'm not really sure why. Oh, this mesh leveling is slow. Oh yeah. Oh, excuse me. Again. Okay. What firmware do we have? So this is current version 1.2.9.12. It's a lot of numbers. So there should be a 0.14 and a 0.15 after that, but it doesn't show the actual numbers of the latest version. Optimized temperature control for the chamber. That is the latest 1.2.9.15. So it can do it, it just didn't prompt it. It didn't check. I think it probably was the chain catching on something, but I mean, it's one movement. It needs to happen again and again for me to bother dealing with it. Another reason why a wired connection would be nice, because it would be hopefully faster. I'm sure they could have found a way to put Ethernet on the back. That would have been really nice. I just don't like using Wi-Fi. Come on, we're nearly there. It's downloaded. Now it will install. Hopefully it doesn't have to do blooming calibration again, because that will be rather frustrating. Installing, but there's no progress bar, so I don't know how long this is going to take at all. And then we'll have a 17-minute benchy, hopefully. Oh, it's just turned off. That's probably a good thing. Okay, I think we'll just go straight for a print now, but we won't do the calibration because I really can't stand to watch that do mesh bed leveling again. It takes forever. It might be slower. Excuse me. I mean, it might be faster on this version of the firmware. I do not know. Let's just double check. Here we go, 1.2.9.15. This is the latest version. Files. 3D Benchy. No calibration. Go! Let's fucking go! So is the preheat to 140 and bed to 60. I'm guessing the 140 is for any of the bed meshing stuff. What is it doing? Oh, I forgot to clear the bed back there. Hopefully it doesn't get confused. Oh, that was weird. It went to 190 and then immediately back to 140. Oh, it does 190 to start, and then as it starts, it goes to 140. So the purging is part of the cooling down process. And then it turns all the fans to maximum to cool down to 140 and solidify that kind of blob at the end of the nozzle. And then does that diagonal movement upwards, and that keeps the kind of partly melted filament out and kind of pulls any residue out of them from around the nozzle. It's actually quite smart, I think, because it's a nozzle cleaning operation that doesn't require any bristles to touch the nozzle, but it doesn't require any additional apparatus to function. It's nearly time, it's nearly time. Come on. There's so much probing around. Are we going to go? Purge. Start the print. It's going to 210. I think we're going to start. Yeah, this is the one from the USB. Well, it's the one they sent me. They're like, this is the latest G-code for that. It looks like they're both the same. They both say 17 minutes. But I've used the latest one that they've sent me directly. There could just be some like start G-code change or something. When we hit 210, we should absolutely take off. Purging, 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 purging. Time for a 17-minute benchy. Oh. That doesn't seem that fast. It's pretty fast. Maybe it's just slow for the first layer and then goes mental after that. It's pretty fast. Oh, now it's really cooking. Let's go! No! Oh, dear Lord. No! Zoom, zoom, zoom. That's pretty close though. Probably like 62 millimeters away. I mean, it is really, really going for it. A lot of the noise is this side fan. Which is on a panel which is kind of loud, so that probably doesn't help. Any news on the Pi-Hat board? So I did a bunch of testing recently, and that's when I was putting it on pre-order. The testing was going pretty well until it wasn't. So while the boards work, like the design is functional in terms of being able to use it on a printer, but if you're pushing like limits of the current that we want to achieve, then it doesn't perform as expected. And the failure modes were not ideal. So there's going to be some additional development and new prototypes, I'm afraid. So there will be some delays. Sorry. It is what it is. We want to make it right. So we have to wait until we get it right. No. What's your proper first name? Mine, Adam. Oh, Da Vinci 10. Yeah, I'm guessing they've slowed down outer perimeter for obviously nice quality look. Whilst going full beast mode on the inside. I'd love to see some Voron profiles, like default Voron profiles that are more like this. Because the default profiles for Vorons are really pedestrian. And they don't really need to be, I don't think. I mean, maybe people are finding profiles in different places, but the ones on Prusa actually are pretty slow. I did go to TTT 360. It was pretty quiet. There was not really much to see. There are a few things, so I'll be making a video about the things that I did see. It was really nice really to catch up with people, to meet some new people that I'd not met before. It was mostly just talking, like the whole first day was just chatting with people about projects. And then the second day I did some more filming, but there was not many companies that are like in my realm of interest, so. It's definitely the fastest Creality printer I've ever seen, I think. Yeah, I was there on the first day, but only for the afternoon. I did the afternoon of the first day and the morning of the second day, and then stayed overnight just because it's easier that way. It's like a 3.5-hour drive up there, and I came back, and because it's in the afternoon, I hit rush hour. It took like 4.5, 5 hours. I hang around the Revo Point booth for a bit, because because I've done a video with theirs as well, with them I should say. But they were busy talking to people constantly, and I didn't get time to talk to anyone, so I gave up. This feels like quite a long 17 minutes. Maybe it's not. Yeah, there's something weird going on with the belt path there. I'm not quite sure what. I think it could go parallel, but it's riding up on the bearing. I think the bearings maybe, the pulley rather, is maybe a little misaligned or something. It's causing it to ride up on that. Seems quiet. It's definitely not quiet. It's about the loudest machine I've ever had. At about 1 meter distance from the machine, the noise level is about 63 decibels. I mean, I'm using this cheap monitor thing. It's definitely nowhere near perfect for measuring audio levels, but it gives you an indicator. I think the problem this cooling fan is going to have is that it doesn't look particularly ideal in terms of like getting the air all the way across the bed. It looks like it's just going to cause a lot of turbulence and just spread out a lot. So by the time it gets to here, it's a long travel distance for air to go in a straight line. It's just going to come out and spin and not really get to the bits that it needs to. And it only covers like 120 millimeters in the middle of the bed. So if you've got something that needs cooling like over here in this corner, you're just going to miss it. Probably similar situation on the P1P though, to be honest. So just remember, if you need something that needs loads of cooling, stick it over that side of the bed in the middle. What would be quite funny actually is you could make a print in the shape of a whistle so that when you start doing something that needs loads of cooling, it blows a shitload of air into the whistle and just makes a horrendously loud noise. Wouldn't that be just wonderful? I think you probably could fit a 9mm belt, to be honest. Everything on the belt path, it looks like it would work with a 9mm belt. I can't believe quite how big a jump Creality's made from 6 remixes of an Ender 3 to this in one jump. Oh dear. I'm guessing we'll see now umpteen revisions of this. But that's probably not a bad thing for a little bit. I'm sure they've identified many things that can be changed and improved and cost down and quality up and all this kind of malarkey. Did anybody time this? Because I didn't. I'm just going off what it says. 12 minutes down, 5 minutes remaining. But I don't know if that's just a automated program that tells you it's 17 minutes and works out how far it is through the G code. Those travel moves are insane. Boop, 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 boop. I don't know if it's even doing retraction. It must be. This is so fast. Just finished this 3 Daybreak Neos in my 2.4. Looks great, but at full white they have a bit of a blue tint. Well, Daybreak Neos are RGB, so they typically, if you just put them full white, then you won't get white. It'll just put the 3 colors at maximum brightness. If you want a specific white, because obviously with RGB you can have any white that you want, you need to adjust the color between like a light blue and a light orange, and that will adjust the whiteness of the white along the color temperature scale. It from that to the eye open and close on the cam. I don't know what you mean. I wonder if 9mm belts would help with start and stop speeds. Well, start and stop speeds, I think you mean acceleration. I mean, yeah, the 9mm belt will be stiffer. So, yes. No begging for 3D printers, please. Thank you. Oh, I see. Yeah, the light changes the color of the hull from like dark to white, depending on where the carriage is. it won't have the belt won't have a direct effect on speed, but a stiffer belt can overall give you greater acceleration capability with higher precision. Because it would just, you have to imagine that the belt is not stiff. Imagine everything is a spring. If you pull it, it's going to elongate before the thing moves. So you just have to kind of imagine what is going to be the effect of a stiffer spring. I look forward to using this for ABS because I think it's a bit more appropriate for that. It'll be quieter because you won't have to have the fan on absolute mental speeds. And it's a nice enclosed space. And that is a Benchy. And for some reason, all the fans have gone to maximum. I think it's trying to cool down the bed and the plate and everything. Well, the stream of air out here is pretty directional. It does stay pretty high up. Well, first layer may be a little bit close, but please apply glue before print. I'm guessing they said that because that's what it says on the bamboo one as well. The A plate, just for all materials. I like they have screws at the back for aligning the bed surface. Right. Let's put it on the old water bottle and see if you can... Again, because of its color, you can't really see much. So I don't know how what the settings are like in terms of Benchy rules and what actual time we came out to in the end. I'm not sure what the layer height or anything is. I wouldn't be upset with that. I'd say that's pretty good Benchy. It was definitely less than 20 minutes. So, oh, I remember this. Well, I know. What I mean is I forgot this. I bought a thing. Somebody suggested in the last stream I buy one of these head things for a microphone. So I could put this microphone in it, rather than have it down here, in the hope that it might be slightly better audio. But I forgot. And that camera does look absolute rubbish, doesn't it? What's the brim? It's a brim. Or what is a brim? It's the bit that holds it. It's like an extra bit around the base to help hold it to the print surface. I don't think it really does show the benchy line. And yeah, it probably does. It's hard to tell. You can't really see with these white filaments. Right. You're going to have to use the rubbish camera for a bit. Is that a tiny bit better? Oh, it looks absolutely revolting, doesn't it? I do need a second camera. So many things to buy, so little money to buy them with. We just have to deal with what we've got. I think it's fine, as long as we don't really use it very often. Most of the time we're using this camera, which is fine. So, this is going to go into the background now, and I'll start using it for just printing stuff and hopefully have a review out about it at some point, unless the whole thing goes a bit pear-shaped. Excitingly though, the other thing I had delivered this week is a printer kit. For a printer you might not have seen assembled on the YouTubes before. Some people have done it, but this is the first full kit. So we have a Mello VZ235 kit, ready to go, just outside. So that's going to be a bit more of a build project, obviously. That's going to take a few streams. Need to set some sort of schedule for when that's going to be. But I'm super effing excited about building that. Ah, it's finally gone quiet. So it drops to 40 degrees and then turns the fans off. So yeah, that's what's going to be upcoming. We have videos, streams, and everything to do. Looks like I've been bitten by a bug. Yeah, VZ235 assembly live stream. Yes, it's the AWD. So that's, well, at least I believe so. I haven't actually checked. 235 I think is going to be such a good size. I like that kind of smaller size. I've got a few 300mm Vorons already, so I don't need more big printers. 300, is it 250? 300, yeah, 300, pretty big. So yeah, super excited for that. VZBot 235 is going to be here at last. I've been waiting like how many months? Many, since like September last year. But I'm so happy it's finally here. I've had a little look, very, very briefly. It looks like it's all there. It's kind of a beta kit, so it's not like necessarily going to be a perfect experience, but it gives us an opportunity to look through it, and hopefully Simon Vez will be able to join us for at least some or parts of the live streams, so we'll be able to get some kind of interaction from him as well. He can help explain how things are the way they are, help explain some of the design decisions or design features and stuff like that. So yes, that's it for today. Go grab yourselves a stepper motor analyzer. If you fancy analyzing some stepper motors, it's the pinned link. You can grab a Creality K1 directly from Creality via the affiliate link below. Hopefully that works. For those watching after it's live, I'll try and fix it just in case. But it seems to be working for most people. Yeah, I think that's it for now. Try and buy this thing. If you fancy it, buy this thing. Or VLMP. Oh, you can't buy VLMP at the moment. Check the shop out, vector3d.co.uk. Right. Well, I guess that's it then, isn't it? Thanks very much for watching, everyone. I don't know when the next live stream will be, but as we have that 235 kit, hopefully pretty close. Got to try and set up a little schedule for that. I shall see you all very, very soon. I feel like I've forgotten something, which is why I'm delayed. But hopefully I haven't. Comment below. Sure, bye. Bye, 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 bye. Thanks, bye, 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 bye. Bye.